We spun into Twitter earlier, so I need to know what should I post to Twitter? It's your choice. It can be anything. It can be something embarrassing, something benign, something cool. It just can't get me banned. But other than that, whatever you want. Blood Moon isn't really that bad after playing it more. How fiendish. I don't know that I could have come up with a worse post than that. All right. Blood Moon isn't really that bad after playing it more. There it is. There it is. How could you make me do this? All right. So we're back with the what is it? The fourth or fifth spin of the day? It's the fourth deck of the day. Let's go ahead and see what we're doing. Elementals. All right, so this is Elementals in Pioneer. There's multiple ways to build this. You can build it in a specific combo manner, although this version isn't that. So this is the more like closer to modern all the value plan. So no Elvish, Mystics, or Llanowar Elves, but we do have Lotus Cobra and Nissa to get landfall triggers that add mana. We've got Voice of Resurgence, which is an elemental. Risen Reef, one of these things for some reason. Chain to the Rocks and Leyline Binding for removal. Then we've got 4 of Ye Olde Omnath and Older Omnath, 2 Escape to the Wilds, 1 Bring to Light, and 2 Norns. So the question you may ask is, well, how on earth do we trigger all of these landfall guys when there's no fetch lands in Pioneer? Well, there are indeed fetch lands in Pioneer. You just have to look for them harder. So there's Fabled Passage. That's fetch land. It's not a good fetch land, but it is a fetch land. And then you've got Broker's Hideout and Cabaret Courtyard and Riveteer's Overlook. So to basically explain what these are, when Broker's Hideout enters the battlefield, sacrifice it. When you do, search your library for a basic forest, plains, or island, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle, and you gain 1 life. So these are absolutely atrocious fetch lands that only grab basics and you have to get them immediately. But hey, if you're looking for fetch lands, these provide. So we got the Bant one, the Naya one, and an Esper one, or a Jund one rather. And then a bunch of Triomes and, you know, all that stuff. So, sideboard. Destroy Evil, Mystical Dispute, Thought Distortion, 2 Rending Volley, 3 Rending Volley, 1 Radiant Flame, 2 Veto, 1 Supreme Verdict, and Giganta, not Kahira, because we are running non-cat, non-elemental stuff, and 2 Unlicensed Hearse. So, I guess we're doing this pile. All right, we're on the play. Giganta, and, what am I doing with this hand? Turn 1 Endotha, turn 2 Island Cobra, turn 3 Fetch a Mountain. Okay. I think fetch lands are too good for and antithetical to Pioneer, but how do you feel about bounce lands and or something Ghost Town could power up landfall decks without being fetch lands? I think the better question is, does that do anything good for the format, making landfall cards better? Basically, do cards like Lotus Cobra, Nissa, and Omnath that power out mana super fast lead to more or less interesting decks to play against? Basically, your question to me kind of sounds like, well, Tron would obviously be too strong for Pioneer, but what about Cloud Post? All right, so just play in Endotha Triumph and then go. Plains. All right, human deck. So Island, Lotus Cobra, back over to them. So next turn, we're going Land, Fetch, Omnath, probably. Ossification, no! All right, I guess I'm fabling. Ooh, is this get a mountain? Yeah. So Riveteers, trigger, grab a mountain, and then Chain to the Rocks, and eat your dude, and pass. And then we get to play Omnath next turn. Gonjo into Thalia. Okay. And a Hopeful Initiate. All right, land, fetch. Do I care about mountain, or rather forest or plains more? I probably want forest more, actually. All right, forest, and then white, play Omnath. We drew a swamp. All right, over to them. White, colorless. Brutal Cathar. All right. So they attack. This goes up a counter. So 15, then back to us. Another Voice of Resurgence. All right, so let's just play Omnath again. New Omnath. Trigger this Omnath. All right, play this one. Trigger Omnath. And then back to them. Another Plains. Animates Mutavault. Animates the other Mutavault. All right, so they're just coming in. Oh, Thalia's Lieutenant. All right, I can block some amount of this. Wait, they just didn't attack? Okay. Ooh, fetch land. Nice. What's the thing I want to kill the most? Probably Hopeful Initiate. So, triggers. Can I even kill Hopeful Initiate, though? No, I don't have enough mana, right? Or I don't have enough colors, rather. So then trigger that. Let's go fetch a Plains. And trigger Omnath to make mana. So, I can play Voice of Resurgence. I'm going to play a Voice of Resurgence no matter what. So let's play Voice of Resurgence. And then I can play another voice, but then I can't play Locust, right? Yeah, then I can't play Locust if I do that. So I've got to play Locust and kill, I guess Thalia is like the most because of First Strike. This thing can blow up Chain to the Rocks and get Kythian back, which is fine. All right, so let's play Locust. Comes in, triggers, and kills Thalia. And then I just keep everything on defense, I guess. Actually, I need to put Gigantha in my hand. Gigantha. Then pass. This also triggers on lands entering, right? Whenever a land enters, put a +1 counter on target elemental. Then if you control 8 or more lands, draw a card. Recruitment Officer, grow Thalia, and then they can use the mana to start getting more creatures. And if I drew Elishnorn right now, that would be so good. Their whole deck basically just dies against Elishnorn. None of their ETB triggers work, including on Ossification. Hopeful Initiate, blow up Chain to the Rocks, so they're going to suicide attack into our guys to get Kythian back, I guess, because there's no reason to do it now. If they're not doing that. No, they're just not doing that. All right. What am I putting the counter on? Is it on itself or on voice? Probably on voice, right? Triggers. This one on... So this is almost big enough to attack into Omnath. Yeah, that's fine. All right, put a counter... Yeah, put a counter on Omnath. So resolve this. Resolve this. Then let's play Gigantha and voice. So voice and Gigantha. And then I don't think I attack, so let's just pass. We're at 7 lands, so any more land drops to this point get us to Locust drawing a card. I mean, we're gumming up the board pretty well. They do have a Recruitment Officer to try to find more creatures, and enough mana that it's actually reasonable for them to use it. Yeah, Recruitment Officer, spin. I assume the number 1 creature they want to find is Brutal Cathar, and then maybe Adeline. They found a Hopeful Initiate. All right, drawing a Tangled Florahedron. All right, so if I play this as a land, I get the triggers. So play land, triggers, counter onto... I guess I want to diversify which creatures have which counters on them. So itself. Drew another card. All right, let's cycle this. Probably don't need black mana. So this one of the reds, and white. Cycled into Chain to the Rocks. All right, so I can chain the Recruitment Officer so that they can't keep... But anything I chain, the stupid Hopeful Initiate just blows it up. And they have another Hopeful Initiate in their hand. I can chain Moonrage, and then I at least draw a card. And then they just blow it up, Moonrage comes back, and then they take Omnath again. So that seems bad. Or I can chain Recruitment Officer, and then it forces them to use their mana to get rid of it. It keeps them from continuing to draw extra cards. So yeah, let's do that. Target here, white, Chain to the Rocks, eat Recruitment Officer. And then I still think I'm not supposed to attack. Oh, I guess I can use Gigantha to play voice, right? Yeah, so play voice. This is indestructible for 3 mana. Let's attack with this Omnath. Swing. All right, back over to them. Oh, right, I played multiple things. Brutal Cathar triggers again. I completely forgot about that. Well, at least if we ever get rid of this, then we get a bunch of triggers, including a burn your guy out trigger. Animates Mutavault. So did they just draw another Lieutenant? Recruitment Officer, so they still have... So it didn't matter that I chained it. Okay. Man, double spelling and flipping this over really screwed me up, huh? Because with Royal off the field, it means my land drops are not redraws anymore. Swing, swing, swing. What if I just block with all the voices and then make a bajillion gigantic tokens? Block here, block. No, let's block here. So this dies, this guy dies. They have to remove the counters pre-damage if they want to get this guy back. They have another Hopeful Initiate, though. Maybe I don't even bother with that. Let's just turn all of these guys into huge elementals. Yeah, that's fine. Block there. Boom. 3 5/5s. Ossification. Sure. So they ossify Omnath? Question mark? Yeah. Ossify Omnath. This triggers on end step, right? So then they play the Hopeful Initiate that they still have in their hand. Does it not? It has to attack? Okay. Risen Reef. Green, blue, black. Play Risen Reef. Trigger... Yield to this. All right, Lotus Cobra. Yeah, these guys are 6/6s. And then let's go to combat and attack with everything. And they do have to block to some extent to not die here. Trigger, kill 2 of your guys, you go to 4. Seems good to me. Back to them. We're also at 32, so, you know, no danger of us dying on the crackback. Brutal Cathar, they can eat a token. Or Giganta. Our guys are still really big. The only creature they have that's bigger is Lieutenant. So if I attack with just the elementals, they get 1 free block with Lieutenant, and then 2 other creatures have to chump and die. Just swinging here, eh? And Kithian, sure. They can't even make this indestructible, right? So I can just block that. Cobra block here. We take 5, and then both Brutal Cathars have to chump. No, they don't. No, yeah, they do have to chump. Yeah, both of them have to chump. All right, that was a long one. So let's bring in, obviously, Verdict, Rending Volley, Radiant Flames. Is Destroy Evil good? It blows up Ossification, and it blows up Adeline. It kills any lieutenants that have grown too big as well, so it's maybe good. We do just have Leyline Binding to eat their ossifications, though, or whatever. What am I cutting? Voice of Resurgence doesn't actually seem very good because all their spells exile, meaning it itself doesn't get its own death trigger unless I'm trading with a guy. So maybe it is good. I don't know. Probably don't need like all the high-end stuff. Maybe I do, though. I need to cut stuff for this. What am I cutting for this? Maybe it is just voice. Cut voice, cut. They have Deccanstone in their sideboard, so Norn isn't completely removal proof, but it is quite good. One of the Escape to the Wilds, or, yeah, one of the Escape to the Wilds. All right, let's do that. Submit, and then we can't reveal Giganta because Verdict's in the deck now, which is unfortunate, but whatever. This one grabs a mountain, right? Yeah, okay, so this is fine. Turn 1, Skrelv, Mox Amber. Okay, well, this is a version of humans. All right, play this, trigger, go grab a mountain, and over to you. Second land, swings with Just Hopeful Initiate. No plays on their part. Indoth the Triome. All right, play this. Hold up Rending Volley. I guess I'm going to volley the Skrelv. I guess I should have played Plains and then Chained to the Rocks Skrelv, but like I'm going to get to a sweeper anyway, so it doesn't matter. 3 mana, Adeline. Adeline's going to be too much damage too fast. Just swing here. Because I have to spend my next turn. Nah, it's fine. I'm going to chain Skrelv. That way, if they play Thalia, I can kill that. And then I can Verdict afterwards. All right, so chained. Get rid of Skrelv. Gives this pro whatever. That's fine. What did they choose anyway? Chooses white, sure. Is it correct to just volley this anyway so that they'll commit more to the board? I don't think so, actually. I think it's just play Plains, and then we're taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need to play this in case they play Thalia, because I need to be able to volley Thalia. Kithian. So I'm taking 9 here. All right, so no blocks, obviously. Take a bunch of damage. End step. All right, volley this now so that they can't give it indestructible. Or rather, if they give it indestructible now, then I just get to Verdict it anyway. All right, back to us. So if I don't want to take damage from Breeding Pool, I have to fetch an island, which makes Nissa not good on the follow-up. So let's just shock Breeding Pool in, and then blue, white, cast Verdict. All right, all their creatures die. Back to them. Brutal Cathar. So yeah, they just got to have like nothing in their hand if that's what they did. All right, well, I have to play Nissa first. So Nissa, Fabled Passage, trigger, make green, and then play Lotus Cobra, and then fetch again, so I have 2 more mana. Fetch. What am I missing? Not really anything. I have the most white and green cards, so just grab a Plains, I guess. Trigger. I need to stack Nissa's first so that I see what I'm getting before I make the mana from Lotus Cobra. All right, so add in green. We hit Omnath. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing anything else, so. And then I've already played my land for the turn, so that fizzles. And then it's over to them. Ossification, sure. So take Nissa, very well. Another land. If they attack, I'll just block it. It's fine. All right, no attacks. Over to us. Elish Norn. All right, I'm playing that. Norn, go. All right, we won the match. On to round number 2. Elementals OP. Nah, they get run over. They do get run over by aggro if you can't keep up. They don't have elves. They don't have the mana orcs to actually ramp fast. They only start getting a bunch of mana later, and they don't have that much removal either. And some of their removal is Chained to the Rocks and Leyline Binding, which require that you have specific lands. So if you don't get those specific lands, then they don't work. They do have a pretty great late game though. All right, we're on the draw for round 2. So Giganta it up. Well, no lands. Technically, we have 1 land, but 1 land equals Mulvis. Huh. Nissa and 6 lands, eh? None of these are white either, right? No, they are. All right, I will keep and then put back, I don't even know, Swamp or Zagoth Triome or Breeding Pool. I'm not even sure what to put back here. I'm going turn 1 Fetch a Plains, turn 2 Ketria Triome, turn 3 Swamp. So let's put back Breeding Pool. Okay. Mountain. Basic Mountain, that's not good for us. With this hand, oh yeah, Pia deck. Alright. Courtyard, triggers, grab a Plains, back to them. Nothing to do until turn 3 is pretty rough, but I didn't want to go to 5. Play with fire up. So maybe they're just mono red, not Pia. So we go to 17, then this is another 4. Or no, we go to 18, 19, this is another 4. We go to 15. I don't have an untapped green source for turn 2. All right. Play Ketria, go. So what can I do next turn? I can go Cobra, land, then I only have 2 mana, so I just have to run Nissa out, and then maybe it dies. Bone Crusher, Giant, us, and then we go to 9 or lower. Another play with fire. Well, at least they're expending a bunch of burn now. So we go to 5 here. It's kind of rough. Ooh, Leyline Binding. Okay, so I go Cobra. I want to Leyline Binding this Bone Crusher next turn, though, when they play that. So let's just do Swamp into Nissa. And then next turn, we'll Binding the Bone Crusher. Over to the opponent. Stomping Ground, Shocked in. So I guess if they have Atarka's Command, we just lose. The last card in their hand is Atarka's Command, really. We didn't even see any green sources until now. Yep. So even if I'd played Cabaretti, that wouldn't have mattered. All right. I guess if I played Lotus, Cobra plus Leyline Binding. So I could have gone Cobra, Leyline Binding, and then chump blocked there. Oh well. All right. Sweeper, Sweeper. That's it, though. Destroy Evil doesn't matter against them. Rending Volley is irrelevant against them. I guess Veto is not irrelevant, but it seems so bad. We just want to kill their guys. So what is bad here? Just late game stuff. Norn doesn't do much against, mono red, basic. Well, I guess they're Atarka red, but, that's not going to be too relevant. And then Escape to the Wilds is the other slow spell. So let's just do this. All right, submit that. Another slow hand, but at least this one has an Omnath, and we're on the play. So I'll keep this. Ketria Triumph first, and then pass. Swift Spear, we go to 19. Rogran Triumph, go. Phoenix Chick, swinging again, and then light up the stage. Reveal Soulscar, Burning Tree. Well, all right, Plains, play Nissa, back over to them. So if this Nissa can live, then I can go fetch land, trigger, make mana, cast Omnath, fetch again, gain life, Burning Tree, Soulscar, stomp on Nissa so that its blocks are bad. Okay. And it's permanently -2 because of Soulscar Mage. So I guess I'm not blocking, obviously. So I just take 3 here. Lotus Cobra. So if I play Lotus Cobra first, then I have to fetch before playing Omnath. So that's no bueno. So let's go Fabled Passage. And then what do I need? White, red. So green or blue will do it. Or red, whatever. Yield to this. And then add green mana, I guess. White, red, blue, green. Play Omnath. Then trigger to draw a card. Then sack the Fabled Passage. And grab another green source. Triggers. These go off. I gain 4. And then let's make white mana. Reveal another Nissa. Play Lotus Cobra. And then back over to them. So Omnath will just keep gaining life. And then I have an emergency verdict if that ever matters. Stomping Ground. Tapped. Attacks with everything. Well, I have another Nissa, so I have no qualms blocking, but there's nothing I can block with it that I actually trade with. They're hitting me for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which isn't even that bad, even if they play Atarka's Command. Take 5. If they Atarka's, I'm taking 10, 13, 15. So I could potentially die here. So let's just Cobra block the Burning Tree. All right. It is Atarka's Command. All right. Damage. We go to 7. Ooh, BTL? What can I BTL for? I guess let's see what I'm getting first. So Fabled, triggers, adding blue. Fetch. Okay, so I can go grab Escape to the Wilds. I have so much mana. That's probably correct. Let's do that. All right, they're just conceding to that. Yeah, just run back the same thing. Submit. All right, on the draw versus Atarka Red, this is not keepable. So mull this hand. This is also bad. Oh man, this is so bad. How many turns does it take until I can play Leyline Binding? So I go fetch a Plains, Stomping Ground, and then the next turn I can play it. So I don't get to play it until turn 3. Going to 5 seems horrible though. But this hand's also awful. What does my 5-land hand have to be? It has to be like 3 lands, chained to the rocks. All right, I'll keep and throw back a Fabled Passage. This hand at least has all my colors, has 2 lands that gain life, which is something. All right, and this is better. So let's do the white one, but trigger this. Go grab the plains in case I draw Chain to the Rocks or whatever, but I also need white for binding. Second land, Burning Tree into what? Into Swift Spear. All right, that's not too bad. 2 damage here. We go to 19. Escape to the Wilds. So this has to go fetch a swamp. All right, play this tapped and back to them. I guess, should I have just played this first in case I drew Radiant Flames? Yeah, I guess I should have played this first. Swing in. All right, anything else? No? Straight to damage? Okay. Voice of Resurgence. Is that better than Binding? Binding basically takes my whole turn, but it takes only 1 mana next turn. All right, Voice of Resurgence. Riveteer's Outlook. Trigger. And then I have to get a swamp for land diversity's sake. Pass back to them. So next turn I've got Nissa plus 2 mana, and then I get to play Leyline Binding for 1, because I fetch an island. Swift Spear. Play with fire on the voice. I probably have to block to not take a bajillion damage, right? Although I'm taking 8 here, so I go to 8. Nah, alright, never mind. I just take 8, that's fine. Omnath as well. I do that next turn, right? So let's go. It's more important to have binding up to just bind one of these things. Probably the Soul Scar, right? So Nissa, Fable, trigger. I need to make white, and then fetch an island. So I have all my colors now. There's nothing I can play here. I guess I could play if I draw, what? Maybe something for green if I... No, I can't. Voice of Resurgence, so I could just play another voice instead of playing Leyline Binding. That's probably fine. All right, play another voice, and then go. Then I have multiple blockers, and the token's bigger. Another land. Lightning Strike on Nissa, and then these guys all get bigger, and then the elemental gets smaller, but then they're out of cards. So voice blocks this, and I go to 2, and then I'm dead to like tons of different burn spells off the top. So instead I need to multi-block this one, but then I'm still going to 2. I guess I block here and here, trade at least 1, go to 4, and then I have Omnath next turn. All right, block like that. Go to 4, make another token. I was really hoping to draw a land there. All right. I could still draw. Oh no, I don't have Omnath mana because I have a swamp. Damn. So I just have Leyline Binding then? That's rough. That is so rough. All right, pass it back. If they draw another land for Den, I'm dead. Goes to combat. Swing. I could have also just fetched another plains, I guess. So block here. Leyline Binding. Target Soul Scar. All right. Take 1, go to 3. What'd they draw? Don't know. Play Risen Reef, trigger, put that into play, and then just pass it over to them. And again, if they draw another land, I'm just super dead. Kamano, all right. So we go to 2, and then I have to bind and chump. Down to 2. Rending Volley our guy, and then we're just dead. All right. Well, this is what happens when you try to play 5 colors in a format that doesn't have actual fetch lands in it. Where did I go wrong there? I could have, instead of fetching the swamp, just fetched something else, and just accepted that Leyline Binding was going to be more expensive, or I could have, instead of playing Voice of Resurgence, played Binding just to get their guys off the table, which would have put less pressure on me. All right, we're on the play for round 3. This hand looks a lot better. Do I have blue? Yes, I do. Okay. But if I get the blue, then I can't play Voice of Resurgence on curve. I guess I go Sacred Foundry first, and then if I want to get blue instead, depending on what I draw, then I can do that. So doing it this way gives me more options. I either draw a land, and then I know, okay, it's fine to play Voice. Seachrome Coast. Oh, it's Spirits, yeah. Well, it's another tap land, so if this is Spirits, then I definitely want Voice down super fast. So play Voice. Yeah, there's Spectral Sailor. Mistgate Pathway. Blue, Supreme Phantom. Very well. Take 2, go to 18. All right, untap land? No. How unfortunate. All right. Well, let's bluff attack the Voice. Swing. Yeah, so they don't block. And then we just play Rogran Triome and pass. So then it's 3 from here, back to us. So I can try to resolve Nissa, and if they counter it, I get a big Voice token, I guess. Another Omnath. If they Spell Queller, I don't want them to... I guess if I just attack into a Spell Queller, they can just block it, but then I get to at least resolve Nissa. All right, so attack with Voice. So no blocks, and then play Nissa. Is it better to play Nissa or Risen Reef? All right, let's play Nissa. So they do have Spell Queller? Yeah, all right. Well, at least we make a token. And then I can't wait on this land. At this point, I have to just play it. Trigger. And what am I grabbing? It can't be a forest, so it has to be plains or island. Let's grab a I guess an island. All right. And then over to the opponent. So it's nice that I get these voice tokens, but they're just outracing us by a lot. This is 6 here, plus when anything else they play, another Phantom. Yeah, so we're dead in 2 hits. So I have to be able to resolve Omnath and have a land, which is not going to happen. Green, blue, red, white, Omnath. They still have Geistlight mana up. Huh, I was not expecting that to resolve. Play this, trigger, and then just pass. How much damage is this? 3, 5, 9, 11? Or 9... Oh, this is still lethal? 7, 9, 11. Wow, this is still lethal even after doing that. Man, that's... yeah. All right. Okay, sideboarding. Volley, Verdict, Radiant Flames, I guess. Mystical Dispute. Destroy Evil works if they have... So if they have a Phantom out, then it can kill Spell Queller and another Phantom, but most of their creatures don't get hit by it. It also kills Curious Obsession, which maybe is relevant. What am I cutting? Voice of Resurgence felt pretty bad there. Like, it just doesn't matter. I had turn 2 Voice, and it just didn't matter. Elesh Norn's definitely out. The only thing this matters against, let's see, it matters against Mausoleum Wanderer, Rattle Chains, and Queller, but by the time you even get it down, it's probably irrelevant. Same deal here. Like, I don't want to cast a bunch of expensive spells, although they do get around Queller. I feel like I'm probably just never going to race them, and that's the only time Voice matters, so let's just cut Voice. Maybe I can keep 1 Norn in and cut an Escape to the Wilds. All right, let's do that. So we're on the play. This grabs what color? A forest, and then I'm still missing another color. So this hand, if I draw a 3rd land that is either blue or green or red, I guess it has to be blue or green so Risen Reef can go off. The hand's so slow too, but all my hands are slow. All right, let's keep. Let's just play Plains on turn 1 and then see what we do from there. Just need to draw a 3rd land, although it does have to be blue or green, but that's pretty likely. Well, that's not a land, so I guess I'm going to go grab a mountain, despite the fact that that's neither of the colors that I need. But I need to have Volley/Flames ready to go. Sailor in response, grabbing a mountain. Over to you, opponent. Shacklegeist. Huh. And they just ran it out immediately. And we're land bricked. All right, back to them. We have 27 lands in this deck. All right, shoot that in response. Doesn't matter, they have Rattle Chains. This deck is just so obnoxious. I guess if I exactly draw an untapped land in a 3rd color, I can Radiant Flames and kill their board at the very least. But I have to exactly draw an untapped land in a 3rd color. It's not an untapped land, but it is a land in a 3rd color. Good luck getting that through any number of counter spells that they can have next turn. Or hell, they can just play Supreme Phantom and then... I guess Supreme Phantom wouldn't do it, right? But just any number of counter spells. Queller, Geistlight Snare, any number of which to stop Radiant Flames dead. There's Rending Volley. I could pass and then volley them on their upkeep. See if they respond to that. And then they have maybe less mana, but not really. There's just no way they don't have a counterspell, right? There's just no way. 3, 5, 6, 8. All right, I guess this has to resolve, because otherwise the Mutavault alone just kills us. Radiant Flames. Show me your counterspell. No counterspell. I am shocked. Flashes and Rattle Chains. Flashes and Shacklegeist. They still have 6 power on the board, even after that. So it doesn't even matter. Like, I have 1 Rending Volley to kill 1 guy, and then I'm still going to take lethal. Phantom, Animate Mutavault. We're at 1. There's actual nothing I can draw to get out of this. Yeah, so we're dead. All right, on to round number 4. All right, we are on the draw. This hand at least has Chain to the Rocks plus Leyline Binding pretty solidly. All right, keep this. Blooming Marsh. Duress. All right, bye Leyline Binding. Rogren, go. Oh, it's Greasefang. Wonderful. Well, there's another Leyline Binding. So, Zagoth, go ahead. Grizzly Salvage, milling over Parhelion. Takes Darkboar Pathway. Oh, 2 Parhelions and a Chariot. Liliana, even worse. Plus, all right, what am I pitching here? Chain to the Rocks is basically irrelevant because the only creature that matters is Greasefang, and we can never respond at instant speed with Chain, so let's just discard Chain to the Rocks and a boat. All right, I guess I'm leylining Liliana because I can't let that stick around. So back to us. If I play Cobra and Broker's Hideout, I only have 2 mana, so let's just not do that, and let's just play Plains and Cobra and then do stuff next turn. Back over to them. Witherbloom Command killed this and mill. Sure. They milled over 3 lands. I guess they just don't have Greasefang. Darkboar Pathway. Scrapwork Mutt. Rummaging another boat. Well, we can do that next turn, so let's chain Eat Your Scrapwork Mutt. And then Broker's Hideout trigger. I'm doing this now so I have guaranteed Escape to the Wilds next turn. All right, so we have 2 plains. We have a forest in our hand. I probably still just want more plains. All right, grab that over to them. Yeah, I don't like... The worst decks are the ones that just say your opponent doesn't get to play the game, where like that's their game plan. Fiend's Informant. Discards Scrapwork Mutt. All right, I'm not going to just hold up Leyline Binding for no reason, so let's just do Escape to the Wilds. All right, let's go Stomping Ground in tapped. Back over to them. Black and green, Grizzly Salvage. They still didn't find Greasefang. Thought sees us, they take our binding. Mana Confluence, and they only have 1 card in hand. We're still in huge trouble if they ever find a Greasefang. All right, drew Voice of Resurgence. So what am I doing? I can go Cobra, Nissa, land, and then I get 4 mana from that, and then play Omnath. Or I go Omnath, then play the land, and then play both of these, but then I'm not getting the Nissa trigger. So I go Nissa, land, trigger, another trigger, play Omnath. So I may as well play Lotus Cobra. All right, Lotus Cobra, Nissa, then Courtyard, trigger, trigger. So let's make green, then this resolves, make white, then this resolves. Then we go grab a mountain, I guess. Then they trigger again. Blue, make red. We found another Omnath, cast the one that's in exile, trigger. All right, pass back to them. 4 mana, Takanuma. They still didn't hit Greasefang. They picked up Rafine's Informant. How crazy is it that, yeah, we're just like still dead. Yeah, so there's Greasefang. That we're still just actually dead to a Greasefang, no matter what we have on the board here. We have 1 turn to try to find, I guess, we have 1 turn to try to find an answer for Greasefang. And we have to answer the angel tokens. So when can we expect Lorcana content on the channel? I'm not interested in playing other card games. Like, maybe it's interesting. I don't know. Oh no, they just brought Boat back? Why wouldn't they bring back Parhelion and just kill us here? So they're going to attack and kill Lotus Cobra? Because we're dead next turn to Greasefang anyway, to the Parhelion. But they're way more likely. All right, so let's see. I can go up to 17, and then I'm not just dead to Parhelion. All right, so I'm just going to play the other Omnath, I guess. So let's attack them with Omnath. And then blue, this one, play the second Omnath. Keep this one so it can block. Draw a card. Nissa. So playing this gains me enough life to not die. I guess I have to have blockers out potentially for multiple things. So, I mean, just yikes. Like, all right, play this, trigger to gain life. And then I guess let's play Voice, because Nissa just potentially dies to Sky Sovereign anyway. I don't know. If they bring back Sky Sovereign or they just replay Sky Sovereign, that's okay. No, they just play Sky Sovereign. All right, let's just play Voice. That's fine. Go ahead, opponent. I don't know why I'm trying to figure this out. We're just going to lose to Parhelion anyway. It seems like the biggest reason why every format except Legacy, Vintage, and EDH suck right now is because every meta deck is either 2 ships passing in the night or only I play Magic. Pauper has a decent level of back and forth, but it's getting consistently bent over by random downshifts and EDH cards. So Parhelion, I have no clue why they're attacking with this. I guess they're attacking with this so that I try to block with Omnath, and then they just Sky Sovereign it. So just block here. Yeah, and then we go to 4. Then they just play Boat, kill the Elemental token, and then we're in the same spot. Boat, Elemental token dies. Yeah, all right, we're dead. So, versus Greasefang. I guess this technically does blow up the artifacts before it hits me, but that's only relevant if they're already getting it back, and then they just get it back next turn. So, Rending Volley and Veto for like the Grizzly Salvages and what? Oh yeah, definitely Hearse. Voice of Resurgence is just complete nothing in this matchup. Elish Norn basically doesn't do anything. It stops Boat and Essica's Chariot triggers, but it doesn't stop Parhelion, which is the main way they're going to kill us. Voice is, I guess, kind of relevant just as a Edict sack thing, but that's not very good. Oh, Chain to the Rocks is awful as well. So, Veto, 1 Voice. All right, well, this hand sucks. Mull. This hand is also quite bad. Only 1 land. Mull this. Wow, this is just continuously awful. Mull again. All right, keep putting back Anissa. 3 cards go away. What's the most likely way that I can get into this game? Lotus Cobra into Omnath. So Nissa's out. Escape to the Wilds back. All right, trigger this one. Go grab a forest. And back to them. What would it take for you to play another card game? Either something enticing enough about a new game or something WotC could do that's so bad you'd full tilt quit. Even if I quit Magic, I wouldn't play another card game. The card game would just have to be like really interesting looking to me. And Lorcana is just Disney IP. It does not interest me. I don't think there's any like marketing that could get me into another card game. We're getting Witherbloomed. Yep, Witherbloom, Lotus Cobra dies. Like, I didn't get into Magic because I saw it from the outside and said, ooh, that looks interesting. I got into Magic because a friend of mine played Magic and he got me into it. Fiend's Informant, triggers, Bin's Parhelion. All right, can't do anything. Pass. Fourth land, there's the Greasefang. Rending the Greasefang. Take 3, go 16. All right, play this as a land. Pass the turn. Fifth land goes to combat. We go down to 13. All right, play Nissa and pass. They didn't do anything. They didn't cast a removal spell, nothing. All right, here comes another Greasefang, Parhelion, and then, oh, we're actually dead on the board. All right, on to round number 5. Closest to MTG is Flesh and Blood, but that's more of a flavor, and the competitive culture and gameplay isn't similar at all. I've never played Flesh and Blood, so I wouldn't know. Western card games are all Hearthstone clones nowadays, and all Japanese card games are either Yu-Gi-Oh!, an anime tie-in, or let's try out a gimmick for 3 years before our game dies or rotates. So that's the problem with jumping into new card games, is that any new card game has not stood the test of time. So Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Have stood the test of time, but I don't believe any other card game has. So any other card game can potentially be a fad and die off, making it a risky move to invest in it. Not even just from a financial standpoint, but imagine you get really invested in a new card game in terms of your time and playing in the tournaments and whatnot, and then 3 years later the game dies off. And then you're like, well, I can't play that anymore and all of my cards are worthless. So far with this Elementals deck, so there's this version, and then there's the other version that isn't white, but it's playing a combo finish, and I like that version more. Much better mana in the pure rug version, and the ability to just combo win against your opponent means that you can win for potentially any board state as opposed to this one. This one also has a bunch of random cards in it like Voice of Resurgence that don't matter at all to the deck's plan. Like, you want to ramp and get a bunch of mana, and Voice doesn't do that in any way. All right, so we're on the play. I have 2 lands, both of which enter tapped. So yeah, I have to find a third land, but otherwise the hand's fine. All right, Zagoth Triumph, go. Well, we're playing against Aggro again, so I guess this hand's pretty bad. All right, Fable, go. And then I have to fetch a forest. No, I don't have to fetch a forest. I fetch a... So the thing is, like, if I fetch a plains here, then that means that if the next land that I play isn't green or blue, then I can't play Risen Reef. I guess that's okay. All right, grab a plains. Eidolon of the Great Revel, eh? Well, play Lotus Cobra and pass. No third land. Maybe we'll see something truly interesting and long-standing with the new wave of Kickstarter games, but I don't think so because they mostly look bad and are appealing to the flipper market. The only card games that have stood the test of time are Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood, kind of, Duel Masters, Battle Spirits, Cardfight Vanguard, and Wixos? Don't know what that is. Oh, Chain Whirler too, eh? So I just cannot possibly come back from this position. I have to land Nissa and then have more lands. All right, we bricked on lands. 27 lands in this deck. We keep bricking on lands. Mono red, Flames, Supreme Verdict, that's it. Cutting, Norn, Escape to the Wilds. All right, keep. This actually has to go grab a Plains first so I can play Voice on curve. Trigger, go grab a Plains, over to the opponent. Kumano, multiple sweepers. So I'm kind of in this weird position where, like, want to play Voice so that I can block stuff, but I kind of don't want to play Voice. I need another white source for Verdict or red source for Radiant Flames. So let's just play this tapped and then pass. All right, Eidolon comes in with more counters. I want to wait for this to flip over before I sweep. So let's just play a land. All right, I don't have Giganta anymore. Well, that's fine. Back to them. This will flip over and then we can Verdict them. So take 5, go to 15. Chandra, not even a creature. Come on. All right, play with fire. I was hoping they would play another creature. I guess not. If I don't fetch red, then I can't play Omnath later, which is what I'm going to need to get out of this. I don't want to take damage from Eidolon, though. All right. Fetch, Plains, Verdict. Back to them. What does this Chandra do at -7? Exile the top 5. You may cast red spells. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a red spell, emblem deals X to any target where X is the amount you spent. Swift Spear, play with fire. Oh, so they just, like, don't even need their creatures. Oh, so it is just burn, where your removal spells don't matter. Leyline Binding? Okay, so Swamp, this costs 2. I need to get rid of this right now. So, all right, Risen Reef, blue, green, white, black. Yeah, it costs 2. Trigger Risen Reef. All right, it costs 1 now. Leyline Binding, take Chandra away. Back to them. Zero chance I block here as I want to get the voice triggers. Another land, and then they can animate Den. No, they're just going to kill our guy. Fantastic. All right, so we're down to 6, and then we need to deploy blockers. Ooh, Omnath. All right, green, blue. Oh, then I can't play voice. All right, whatever. Green, blue, white, red. Omnath, trigger. All right, pass. So yeah, this is basically just going to be the burn match in Modern. Only card that matters is Omnath and keeping Omnath alive. Kumano, we go to 5. Well, there's 2. So I can bring to light for Norn right now. Blue, green, black, red, white, BTL, Hellish Norn. And then fetch land triggers. These all go off. All right, they concede to that. And then just run back exactly the same thing. Destroy Evil, I guess, also destroys Kumano. So what does it get rid of? Kumano, that's it, right? Just that. I don't think Veto's worth it. All right, run this. There's got to be a different sweeper that you can play besides Verdict that allows you to still play Gigantha post-board. All right, on the draw against... We have a sweeper and Omnath and fetch lands. It's so incredibly slow, but it does actually have what I need. All right, keep. It's got Verdict to stem the bleeding and then Omnath to dig us out of the hole. All right, Ketria Triumph, go. Swift Spear. Do they only have 1 land? Wow, they kept a 1-lander. Fabled, go. Kamano, take 2 here. All right, fetch a Plains, then back to us. So Leyline only costs 2, so let's just put this in tapped, back to them, and then we can respond to whatever with Leyline. How in the world could you keep this? All right, they found their second land. Another Kumano, or no, another Swift Spear, and then Kumano. All right, I need to not take so much damage this turn, so I guess I'm just going to bind. So I would like to bind one of these and then Verdict the rest of these away, but then I'm going to 8. Let's just stem the bleeding. Leyline, kill this one. Then back to us, and we can play Omnath. Red, blue, white, green, Omnath. All right, pass. Probably not blocking, like, no matter what, so that I guarantee to keep my Omnath next turn, and I get the fetch triggers. Swift Spear comes in with another counter. Opponent attacks. All right, they can have, like, a burn spell, and then we take 11, 8, 6, 3. All right, no blocks. Down to 8. Opponent plays Soulscar Mage. It is probably worth verdicting here. This one's the one that gets the swamp, right? So... play this, triggers, resolve this one, so then get the swamp, trigger again, make mana. I guess I could have attacked first. So I need another white to cast Verdict. All right, so Verdict, spend the red one. Then all of these die. We do lose our Omnath, but we kill 4 creatures of theirs. Then blue, green, play Risen Reef. Trigger this one, burn our Risen Reef, sure. Voice is on top, very well. All right, back to them. So we take another 2 from the Kumano that flips over, and then maybe whatever else they have. Bomat Courier. Okay. I wish I had another white source. I guess I do via Fabled Passage, right? So Fabled, fetch. Let's go grab another white. So Voice of Resurgence. And then I'm going to leyline the Bomat, probably. This makes Voice not trigger, right? I guess I leyline this one then. All right, pass back to them. So combat, this gets another counter. No, they're just swinging there. All right, let's bind it. Eat that. No actions on their part. Ooh, Nissa. All right. Nissa, play fetch land, triggers. Let's add, I don't know, green. Trigger this one. Do they have lightning strike? Because if they do like to kill this, then they have to give us an elemental token. All right. Mountain, trigger, make white, I guess. Or blue, I don't know. Make white. All right, Omnath. So red, blue, Omnath. Trigger Omnath. I suppose I can probably attack with this voice now. Swing with the voice. And then back to the opponent. Roast Omnath. But then they still can't attack here, right? Yep. So back to us. Another voice. So just play this voice. Combat. Swing here. And then over to them. I'm not going to play this in case I draw Risen Reef. But voice is powerful enough that it's worth having on the board. Ramanop Ruins. 4 mana for what? A Crowan War. All right, punished for not playing a creature. Sure. So now they steal Voice of Resurgent. No, they steal Nissa. Sure. Okay. So they can hit us. Oh, I have to attack with these, right? On the next chapter. All right, Chain to the Rocks. And then what's the sequence of events that's going to happen? It's going to be, we're forced to attack. We attack. So they untap. Let's say I kill Bomat Courier. They can attack with this. And then I just choose to take it. And I go to between 8 and 7. And then next turn, I have to attack them back. And then I play Florahedron to block. All right, so eat this thing. If I'm not going to block anyway, then I may as well attack them. Swing, swing. So chapter 2, I must attack. They played another land. They get mana. And then what? Chandra? And they're out of cards now, but now they can burn us or burn these. Exile the top mountain. We go to 9. So these must attack, and it has to attack them, right? No, they just have to attack, period. All right, well, combat. Everything at Chandra. And then they block and one of these dies. Okay, so triggers. We make a very large token. Then we play the other voice and Florahedron. And then back over to them. So Crowan War triggers. This kills itself. We make another voice token and we get Nissa back. Like, they really should have attacked so that the Nissa died. All right, only one unknown card. Okay, so 2 and 3. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this version of the deck. There's a different version that uses Ashaya to turn all your guys into lands, and then Ashaya becomes gigantic, and then you fling it at your opponent. That version doesn't have any white cards, and as a result, it has much better mana. And I don't think you even need all of these white cards. So, for example, I don't think you need Voice at all. And then I don't think you need Chained or Leyline Binding as opposed to just like other spells you could be playing in those slots. And then even if you want Elishnorn, you literally commit to generate the 1 white mana off. You could just play like 1 basic planes / use Lotus Cobra and Nissa to generate the white mana, or Omnath. Or I guess you need white for Omnath. So you do need some amount of white, but you don't need as much as is in here. And all of these other white spells that then get super awkward because you need a mountain, but also a plains, but then you also need green and white on turn 2 for Voice of Resurgence, but you also need blue and green on turn 3 for Risen Reef. Like, the mana just feels super awkward in this deck. I also am never a fan of a deck where you have a companion, but then you have cards that you sideboard into your deck that then make the companion ineligible, so you don't need to be playing these cards. Or at least Thought Distortion is perhaps more defensible, but there's no reason that this should be Verdict over just another sweeper that you could play in the exact same mana value that also just kills everything. The only exception is what? Against like a deck like Spirits, but even there, Spell Queller can tag it. But yeah, that is basically the Elementals deck.